It's time for the Fan Connection presented by AT&T. Every week we invite you, the listener, to connect with us by submitting your questions. The best way to grow the game of soccer in the U.S. is to keep asking questions and keep talking about the sport we all love. At AT&T, connecting changes everything. And on USLNT, our connections with you will help grow the game. LD, time for the AT&T Fan Connection. That also means it's time to welcome in Jordan.
JR.
Jordan, how are you?
Hello, JR.
I have some complaints.
Well, hang on. Before you complain, you got the memo. Black tea every day.
All black everything. I'm very goth.
Yeah, I dig it.
Wait. What are your complaints?
What are your complaints?
Well, I would like to complain about the fact that I have been wearing different football kits on this shirt every week since the beginning of the show. And no one has sent me a kit in the mail. They only send kits to the two of you. And you guys could start your own kit, like museum with the stuff that you've got. So
it's a fair point.
I
will
feel
say
like
it's a
I've been
fair
overlooked.
Point.
That is a fair point.
This
you
is
know go on.
Go ahead.
The Portland Hearts of Pine
Yeah, not Palm.
are sending me a shirt.
I heard about that.
Am I getting one?
They may be sending one for Tim as well. Possibly.
Anyway,
not for me.
Please, this is a PSA. If you're going to send shirts into the show, which we want, because this is going to be an amazing collaboration, we're going to shout out some teams and give you some respect and love. Make sure you send Jordan one too. That's all. Or scarves or hats.
Yeah,
or all the
send
things.
Jordan. Portland Hearts of Pine. Can you please send Jordan one there? Heard it here first.
I would like to go up there because it's not. I mean, it's a few hour drive, but I feel like
I drove through there. You know, I drove through there because I drove from Boston to Nova Scotia a few years ago to go visit where my dad grew up, my dad's family, and I drove through Portland. It's a pretty cool little town.
So,
yeah,
cool.
I like Portland.
Yeah.
If you like lobster, it's the place.
I love
to be.
a lobster.
Live podcast. Eating
from
lobster,
Portland,
watching
Maine,
the game.
Let's go.
That sounds amazing.
Sounds
Sign
amazing.
me up.
I know.
Amazing. Great
okay. Should we get into some questions? All right, let's do it. This one's from Carlos via email. On the topic of chopping blocks, should Poch be more critical of the players who decided not to play the Gold Cup in the friendlies we have remaining? I feel like you guys talked about this a little bit earlier in the show. As in, send a message and solidify the idea that this team needs fight in them. And if you want to start, you have to earn it, not just expect it.
Yeah, I mean, that should be the case with your national team always. The reality, but let's just be honest. The reality is Christian is the best player on the team. And the problem is it's not even close in a lot of instances. Given his resume, what he's done, and what he continues to do every week. So let me just make this really clear. The only reason he was able to do what he did is because he is the best player by a long way. Now, you'll say Yunus Musa also did it. That's just a bizarre, everyone's perplexed by that one. But that's the reason he was able to do it, is because he knows, maybe not in the first camp, but eventually you need him. And we saw it yesterday. We need him on the field.
Of course.
You know, Edson Alvarez is their best player. He scores, they win. Yeah. Christian's there. I can't say for sure we win the game, but our chances go up a lot.
Yeah.
Right? And everyone knows that, including Christian.
Well, I think the part of it, LD, is the question is being asked about, like, chopping block and is Pochettino doing the right things? He is $6 million we're paying him, right? He is going to earn the bulk of that now.
Yeah.
Right? Because what he has to do, this isn't about omitting people. What he has to do is figure out a way to send the right message and continue to build the right culture with Robinson, Pulisic, Musa, who am I missing? Dest.
McKinney,
right? 6 players.
Well, Balogun, Pepe.
Pepe. So, okay, 8 or 9 players. That's a lot of players, LD. Like, we need them. If we want to succeed and get out of the group and be a world powerhouse and get beyond these stages in the World Cup, we need those players. So then really what Poch needs to do is figure out the best way. And I don't know the best way, but whatever's on the inside, is it send a message? Is it tough love? Is it looking at them in the eye and going, hey, have you guys gotten the message yet? Okay, you have. Maybe it doesn't have to be tough love. I don't know the answer, but that's where he's going to earn his money.
That's right. I agree.
Okay, I have one. I'm just going to put this out there. It's really spicy, and if you don't want to answer it and we'll cut it, that's fine.
Ooh, no. Straight up the chimney. We go up the chimney.
That what you just said in the show too.
Yeah.
This one is from Chris via email, who identifies himself as the warming zones revs guy. Chris says, I thought it was all noise, but Pulisic posting pictures of his vacations while the U.S. men's national team is having huge moments just shows he is doubling down. Not even a mention of how they're doing in the Gold Cup. Just, hey, look at me on this jet. I'm kind of done with him.
Did you post a picture of him on a jet?
I think there was a picture earlier in the tournament of him, several pictures of him like traveling with his family. And then most recently, he was in some kind of tournament for Puma, I think, that he posted yesterday while the final was going on.
Right.
I'll take the reins. Shout out to Christian Pulisic. I mean, flying on PJs is a flex. And I mean, seriously, he works hard. He earns his money. You know, he has to. The players are human. They have to go on vacation in the off season. They have to do these things.
And if you're like a Puma athlete, you have to do whatever.
You have to, right.
Correct.
You have to earn your money, and he has to do that. And those things fall on certain days. And look, we can continue to pick the bones out of it. The fact of the matter is, I wouldn't care either way because the opposite is true. For who asked the question?
Chris?
Yeah, I mean, the opposite is true. Chris, I see a bunch of these players because you know what I would actually expect is like a picture of him winning against Mexico saying, go guys, you know, go win this thing. It's like all of that's fake to me. So I don't know. Social media, you can't really make heads or tails of it. He's well within his right to go on vacation. And obviously, given the nature of things, I think sometimes you can just shut it down and kind of fly under the radar and do it quietly. But this is a different generation. Everything has to be posted, and that's kind of normal. So I don't have any qualms with it. But the PJ's a flex for sure.
My only thing is, I keep coming back to this, is who's advising these guys? Because can you not wait a week to post the Puma thing? I know sometimes they're like, we want to make sure during the Gold Cup and on Gold Cup final day, because that's when most people are watching. We want you to post it. I get that, but can you just wait a week? Or can you wait till the tournament's over? Is somebody saying, you know, maybe we don't put the picture of the PJ up while the team is suffering against Mexico, right? And I'm not saying that's the exact timing, but just who's advising? That's my thing, because we all make dumb decisions too. I do things every day, and Rich, our agent, Rich, would be like, "No, Landon, you're not doing that. Why would you do that?"
Yeah.
I go, "Oh, okay, yeah, good one."
Yeah,
So
look,
that's my thing.
I think the other part of it is there's been so much noise and criticism towards Christian Pulisic and some of the other players that like that also is a way to fire back, right? So, subtly or not so subtly. That's just how things work, and that's a form of communication nowadays, social media. So again, no issue with it.
Yeah.
Speaking as the producer on the show, we also have to navigate things like when can we record versus like when is stuff happening. And so who knows when some of that stuff was even captured versus when it was posted on his social media.
Totally.
Social media is not real, everyone. Hate to break it to you.
Sure.
Our account's real. Our account's real. So
extremely real. Very, very Tim's a man of the people. So it's a very real Instagram account.
Clearly.
Okay. Last question is from Julie. Via email. I'm just going to completely admit to this. Her question is making it into the episode because there's a PS on her email that says, Jordan, you are amazing, and I love Liverpool too. So,
I mean, two things I'm going to hold against you, Julie, but keep going.
So first, Landon and Tim, you have been two of my favorite players. I listen to this podcast because of you. Landon, I even named my youngest after you, and he loves soccer.
Awesome.
So
wow,
she's laying it on really thick.
Jesus,
really
of course
is.
she's going to be in the episode.
Second, I want to apologize to you, Landon. When you took your time off of the national team, first I blamed the coach for not picking you, and then I wondered what would keep you from playing for the national team. Thank you for sharing your story. My question stems from that. Do you guys feel that as players join the leagues younger and younger, will burnout and mental health become more of a problem due to not having the skills to deal with the pressure?
Great question.
Very good question.
Great question.
I'm not sure I know how to answer that.
I'll take a crack at it if you want.
Yeah, go ahead.
Well, yes, I think that's fair. You know, so often with athletes, you know, I wasn't one of them. I mean, I still felt young. I mean, I started my career at 18, but I really hit the spotlight at like 23, right? So kind of a late bloomer. I was trending that way. So yeah, look, when you get thrust into the frying pan at 16, it's hard. So naturally, yes, you're gonna have more games under your belt at an earlier age, and the burnout might happen quicker. I use the example of a player that Landon knows really well, but I was in the team. I was a senior player at Everton when Ross Barkley broke through at 16, right? And Ross was his birth certificate might have said 16, but he was built like an ox, and he could hold his own, right? And so he then got held to a different standard, and now he's in the first team dressing room, right? And now you know, he has to take care of his mom and his sister. I've talked about this, right? 16-year-old. He's the breadwinner. He's a brilliant kid. He's got a wonderful family, but he's the breadwinner. So now he's got to go in the dressing room with 35, 36-year-olds, right? And he's got to buy the same car that they have. He's got to buy the same wash bag accessories and watch that they have. So he's trying to keep up with a pace that like no 16-year-old should have to keep up with. Also, like when I got ridiculed and people sang songs about me, I'd tell them where to go and what to do with themselves, right? But I was 35 years old. You get Russ, who's a young kid who comes in and now he's taking criticism from the papers and he's taking criticism from the fans, and he's a local kid, right? So that they double down on that. It's really difficult from a mental health standpoint, and it's really hard to deal with that. And then we label, then he goes to Chelsea, and then we label him a failure when it doesn't work out. And I'm thinking, Everton, Chelsea, he went to Nice in the French league, Luton in the Premier League, Aston Villa, that's a winner to me, right? And so like the lines get completely blurred and skewed. And so having a strong foundation as a young player is important. Good people around you. Lanny, we keep talking about who advises these kids. Ultimately, there's going to be burnout if you start at a much earlier age.
Yeah, thanks for saying that, because as you're saying that, I think the thing that exacerbates all of that now is social media too.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And so part of my real struggles early in my career particularly were after the 2006 World Cup,
Mm-hmm.
where I had a terrible World Cup and we went out in the group stage. And then I started hearing people talk about it on TV when I got home and reading it in articles in the paper and whatever. I can only imagine if social media was around, how much worse it would have been for me. And so now I think it's been around long enough now where people are starting to understand they can just tune it out. But at that time, it was like, oh my God, people are saying this. It must be true. And it must feel, and 5 people say it, it has to be real. And you didn't understand like how fake that whole world is. But I think it gets exacerbated by that now. So it makes it more difficult. I think that is the defining factor more than probably even starting at a young age, because kids who aren't professional athletes are struggling with that, with social media.
I also think like teams have more awareness of that and are trying to offer support too, which I think is really helpful.
That's right.
Correct.
All right. That's it, guys. Thank you.
Good job, JR.